Garden suites are a hot new housing option across Ontario. Today, we're going to be touring a garden suite build in progress up in Orillia, Ontario with my friend Vlad of Forward Investments. Hi, this is Andy from Suite Additions. We help homeowners and investors generate wealth while creating better homes with additional legal suites. To learn more, visit us at suiteadditions.com and download our free guides to get started. And please take a moment to like this video so that more people can learn about this, and consider subscribing to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos. We're going to cover a lot of great information because we're right in the middle of the construction. So let's go take a look. All right, so here we are inside of Vlad's awesome garden suite here in Orillia, Ontario. So thank you very much, Vlad, for setting this up and welcoming us to your awesome project.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
So Vlad, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself as an investor, what sort of things you like to look for?
Well, I started my active investment career about 5 years ago, actually already 7. And I typically look for opportunities where I can add value. Because when I joined RAIN back in the days, RAIN Canada, and this is how I was taught to calculate numbers to get that optimum ratio of cash flowing properties, I found that to find a positive cash flowing property is very difficult in Ontario. And basically, whenever I was looking for something turnkey, I was getting very, very minimum cash flow. And I decided, okay, how about we just try another strategy? And when we found an opportunity to add a garden suite to your backyard, the numbers look through the roof compared to what we've done.
So you kind of started off doing, the single family homes, trying to maximize the, the potential on that home, and then adding in a second unit or duplexing the property. And now you're kind of taking it to the next level with garden suite, really to just focus on forcing the value, right?
Well, definitely. So the main house is already a legal duplex, and we purchased as non-conforming 2-unit property for 565, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so roughly mid-fives, okay.
I got very lucky with this because when we looked at it, the way it was done, we only required minimum work.
So it was already existing, but you legalized it to bring it up to the standard, and then the city recognized it as legal 2 units, right?
Yes, so we applied for permits, inspector came in, pointed out things, and we only spent about $13,000 to make it fully legal. And this one here, the whole backyard garden suite at approximately 800 square feet main floor footprint, which allowed us to put 2 bedrooms, but because we also had a great opportunity to build a full basement down there, so we added 2 more. So we have 4 total bedrooms.
That's awesome.
And then each level has its own bathroom. Where we're standing there's going to be a kitchen right there. Okay,
so I can see the plumbing here for the kitchen.
Yeah. Right. So fridge, dishwasher, sink, and a stove will be right here, and that's a living area, very spacious. And behind Andy, there's one of the bedrooms. Will it be master? I don't know. It's going to be probably up to the tenants to decide. And another bedroom. And and here we see that there's a bathroom, which is going to be a space for vanity, a toilet, and a full-size bathtub. And we'll have a closet for, jackets and stuff right here.
Storage is always key.
Yeah, people need storage.
All right. So one thing I noticed as soon as I stepped in here is just how spacious it was, and obviously, the footprint is a good size. But I think the thing that lends itself really well to how why I feel so spacious is you have the height, but additionally you have this vaulted ceiling here. So tell us a little bit about that, Vlad, and why you decided to do this.
Well, to be honest, it was one of the options that I always wanted to do, and I'm very happy about this because it gives you so much a roomier feeling and so much more, space. And
do you know if it was more expensive compared to, say, regular trusses?
I believe it wasn't, but again, because I was given a kind of ballpark estimate with everything, I didn't see any changes in price from that perspective.
Okay. And so we can see the exposed trusses there, and then we can see the roof sheathing on the other side. How are you going to be insulating that?
It's going to be a spray foam insulation.
So that's going to give you a great amount of insulation value, basically, you know, for the thickness, right? So you can get quite a bit of insulation on the roof there.
From the building code perspective, it's going to be definitely conforming to whatever there is required.
And how are you going to be insulating the exterior walls here? So right now we can see the 2x6 wood framing for the walls. We can see the sheathing on the other side. What's your plan for insulation here?
Well, again, being not a contractor myself, it's going to be a regular, I don't know what's our value for this, but it's going to be a regular insulation,
right.
Which is...
Yeah, I believe, you know, you're going to be able to achieve R20 insulation here, and that's going to certainly meet the building code. And you know, the great thing is that you're going to have the R20 insulation here. You're probably going to have the R60, which is going to be good for the spray foam.
R60 is
and that's important because you have that stack effect where, you know, a lot of the heat wants to, you know, escape from up top, right? So having that spray foam on the roof is actually in the roof cavity is a good idea. So why don't we go downstairs, because we do have a basement here. So we're going to have a look at the downstairs layout.
Absolutely.
But you know, the basement actually does not feel like a basement at all. It feels like just kind of like a lower main floor.
Absolutely.
Foundation wall. You have the slab already poured down.
Yeah.
And everything is framed. This looks like it's ready to be insulated as well. So Vlad, why don't you just tell us a little bit about, you know, this space as well?
Yeah. So in here we also have 2 bedrooms. And where we're standing right now, it's a recreational area, and I already can picture myself, let's say, putting somewhere a couch and a TV. It's very comfortable and cozy right here. This is a space for laundry, and that's a space for additional storage. And again, as we say, storage is important. So
you can never get enough of storage.
The family who's going to live here, they'll have that right here. Yeah. And another bathroom. Still, you can see there's a work in progress. Plumbing is being done. It's going to be full stand-up shower right here. Also vanity and a toilet. 2 pretty spacious, similar size bedrooms. And what I like again about the design decision, without a furnace, we don't have to have dedicated mechanical room for that, because it's being heated by heat pumps.
Okay, yeah, actually, let's talk a little bit about kind of the heating system, because, you know, with a regular house, the most common type of system that we have is a forced air furnace heating system, or, you know, we may have like a boiler system. But in this case, you've decided to use a different type of heating system.
Right, and the type of heating is going to be electrical baseboard heaters, controlled by thermostats, and heat pumps, which are very efficient. They're good for heating and cooling.
Right.
And that's setup we already used and tried, and it proved to be very efficient. It's not really high on the bill.
Yeah, that's a great option. And you know, when you have electric heating, you know, you always have to consider, you know, cooling as well, right? So the mini split heat pump system is great for additional supplementary heat, and it's also good for that cooling option.
Absolutely.
Right?
Plus, what we're going to have is thermostats in each room. So whoever is going to live here, they can control how much electricity they use.
Absolutely, like zone control, right? Like if you're one person in the house and you're working and the rest of your family is somewhere else, you're going to be in that one corner office all day. You know, why heat the whole house, right?
Exactly.
So you can turn that to, you know, room temperature or whatever you're comfortable with, and then bring down the rest of the house to 15 degrees or whatever. You'll save a bunch of money.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole idea about this, yeah.
Now, one thing I noticed about this is, again, we're technically in a basement, but like, look at these windows here. Like, this does not feel like a basement at all.
Yeah.
And this is the one cool thing about a lot of cities and municipalities where, you know, they don't care about the total square footage of the house. They only care about the footprint of the garden suite. So here you're able to add effectively double the floor space with the basement. And, you know, if you can get it high up like this is really great because you have a lot of natural lighting. It feels very spacious, and it just doesn't feel like a basement at all.
Absolutely, yes.
So one thing that's very important is that with the services to the garden suite, you know, whether it's drains or plumbing lines, is that they don't want you to connect directly to the city services. They want you to go through the main house, right? So you have to make sure that you have the capacity, whether it's water lines coming in, drain lines going out, electrical service. If you happen to have a gas line, those are effectively going to come through the main house before it actually goes. That's not 100% for every municipality, but most municipalities, that's kind of the goal. Yeah. And do you have separate meters for all 3 units?
Okay, so the main house only has one
meter.
Okay. However, this one will have its own.
Right.
And it has actually separate service, 200 amps.
200 amps just for the garden
Just
suite
for the
here.
garden
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So separate service. So you have 200 amps. Did you come directly from the utility company, or it still went through the main house?
Yes, it was through the utility company.
Okay.
Hydro
So they were able to get it directly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is incredible. You guys have done an amazing job. Like you're like trailblazing, because there's not that many people in Ontario that have done a garden suite, let alone their second one. I'm so excited for you guys. This place is going to look great. Hopefully you'll invite me back,
Absolutely.
to check it out, and hopefully it's not going to be as cold as today.
No, definitely.
Yeah, it's probably going to be the spring or the summer, right? So
spring, plus it's going to be heating on all the windows and doors.
yeah. This is really amazing. So congratulations on
Thank
all your
you.
success with this. I hope you continue to build these and show other homeowners and investors that they can totally do this, add additional units, build better houses, communities, and also create wealth as well, right? So okay, thank you for watching, and thanks so much to Vlad for showing us his awesome garden suite in progress. I'm sure once it's completed, it's going to look amazing, just like his other project in Barrie. So maybe at that time, we're gonna come back and take a look at the finished product. So that's all we have for you today. So what do you think? Do you think garden suites are a good idea? Would you wanna put one into your house? Would you like to build one as an investment property? Was there anything else you wanted us to cover? Share that in the comments below, and we'll try to accommodate that in an upcoming video. If you have any questions or comments, please share that below. Again, if you haven't already clicked on that like button, please do it now and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to learn more about investing in housing densification and how you can get involved, hit that subscribe button. I put together a beginner's guide. We cover important bylaw and building code requirements for cities in Ontario and all the design considerations you need to make to successfully complete your project. You can download that through the link in the description below. Until next time, to your success.